Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kimball Hooker Show. I'm your host, Kimball Hooker. We have our special guest here today. This man's played with a lot of people, and a lot of people have played with him. His sound is amazing, and best part is he's a drummer, just like myself. So, got to give him a hand clap on that. My special guest, Mr. Chris Ihrig. How you doing, my friend?
Thank you, Kimball.
Nice, cool. You know, I was looking at this picture. The one thing I noticed is you got my favorite drums up there, the DW drums.
They have my favorite money too.
Right? I know those sound really good, right?
They
Good.
better, yeah.
Yeah, of course, of course. Take us back. Like, how did you actually get started with playing music?
When I was a young kid, my grandfather, he was like a crooner like Frank Sinatra. And I remember growing up in Chicago when I was a little kid, we'd go to these restaurants, we'd visit the grandparents, and he would sing in the restaurants. We thought that was really cool. Came to California then, and it was during swimming pools and young couples with houses that were affordable, and all the kids in the neighborhood. The parents would have their parties and clean out the garages and have bands in there. And this is in the early 70s.
Oh, wow.
And I used to sit back, sneak in, supposed to be upstairs like the parents told us to be,
Right.
and watch these bands. And I was just so fascinated, especially the drummers. And we had a lady across the street that taught flute, and her son played drums. And I would go over there and sit in front of the drum set, and I was sold right there. I would just sit in front of that bass drum.
How old were you?
I was about 10 years old at that time. And
That's perfect age. Right.
and I just knew I had to play drums. And it's hard to believe that my parents would let me, and my brother, he played guitar. We both let us do that and make all that noise in a house like that.
Wow. Nice, nice.
And God bless them for letting us do that. And so my first drum kit at about 12 years old was a plastic, like a Fisher Price model. We didn't have those nice wooden kits that kids get now, a miniature kit like that.
Oh, got it.
So
Okay.
I had to learn for, I think, till I was about 13 or 14 on a plastic drum kit, believe it or not. But I loved the heck out of it. And that's how I started, Kimball.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so did you ever take lessons?
I did. And they brought us to lessons, my brother and me. He went to the guitar teacher, and I went to an old guy from Denmark. I could barely understand him. He spoke Danish, and he was a jazz drummer.
Oh, my gosh.
And that's the guy I learned from. To this day, I remember I play the beats that he taught me. Boom, clack, boom, boom, clack, boom, clack, boom.
Classic. That's classic.
That's how he said it, and I'll never forget him. In fact, I forgot his name, but he just was so cool, and that's how I started.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And so transitioning later, how did you get into like the band situation?
Yeah, so back then, my first real drum kit, I guess you could say, we would look at the newspaper. And you remember the want ads?
Right.
Everybody could get stuff, and there was so much music equipment going around. I was working like in a butcher shop, cleaning up, saving a few bucks, and asked my mother and father if they would help me buy a drum set. I think for $150. Oh my gosh, I bought a Sonar jazz kit.
Sonar.
Yeah, I wish I'd never sold that thing. Best sounded floor tom I ever had.
Right.
And that's what I learned to play on. And it was guys in high school then coming over to the garage. And at that time, I was going to Saratoga High School. And everybody back then, the kids were having house parties with keg beer.
Oh, wow.
Hard to believe. I'm
Nice.
Sorry, y'all.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Tell it. Yeah.
200 kids with 3 kegs of beer and playing music and performing in front of all the kids there at these parties every weekend. And so many great musicians came out of that scene in the Bay Area here, and I know and beyond, all over probably the United States at that time.
Right.
And the police would come and say, everybody just stay in the house at 11 p.m.
Right. Those late house parties.
Knowing we were all drinking beer and everything,
Right.
and everybody kind of policed themselves. And that was kind of like going to music college, Kimball.
Wow.
And to this day, those were some of the funnest gigs, playing at these parties. And then helping the poor fellow or young lady clean up the house before the parents got home. Usually they're on vacation.
Right. Oh, wow.
Just like those 80 comedy movies with the lawn chairs and the pool and all that stuff, and these beautiful homes in the West Side here in Saratoga. That's where I grew up, and we would just have these huge parties in there. Hard to believe now.
So you had a real interesting
Yeah.
musical past.
Yeah,
Very
that's the way it
interesting.
was. And kids were all playing guitar back then and playing drums and doing that kind of thing. It was really before cell phones, before computers and whatnot, and kids had to entertain themselves, sports and music. That's a lot of what we did back then, you know.
Right. Right. So transitioning when you start to play with bands, because you play with bands, right?
Yeah.
Like what are some of the bands that you played with?
Well, one of the bands we were called was actually Saratoga. My best childhood friend Casey, who we went on and formed the Joint Chiefs with, and then hired Don Carruth. But that was the genesis of that band.
I love that band.
Yeah, and that's what we did. And we I think I started playing in bars at about 19 years old
Wow.
in Santa Clara and in Saratoga, and couldn't drink or anything. But I was playing drums in these bands. We were just kids, you know, below 21 years old, and that band we just kept doing all kinds of parties, you know, playing, you know, all the different high schools,
Right.
and playing these small little bars at that time. And then it got bigger and bigger, and we met Don Carruth,
Right.
who now is still the last original member of the Joint Chiefs.
How many people were the original people? How many people were there?
It was me on drums, Casey, who sadly died of a brain tumor in 1996. He passed away. And Don Carruth from Los Gatos.
Right.
And a man named James Miller on keyboard, and Paco Rivera from War and Santana and Malo on percussion.
Okay. All right.
And that was our original lineup there. And we wound up just making a name for ourselves early on in a brand name, launched that brand, and opened up for national acts and did JJ's Blues Festivals, JJ's Jam Sessions.
Nice.
And met a lot of folks along the way. And Don has carried that name proudly with dignity and honor
Right.
and courage all these years to this day.
I know AC.
Okay.
He's the one that plays now.
Oh, yes, sir.
Right. The keyboard
Yeah,
player.
yeah, he's great. I haven't met him personally yet. I got to get out there and say hello to him. I've just been so busy. I work at Costco.
Okay.
And that keeps my drum habit alive.
Right.
But yeah, I've seen him, and I get all their information, and just they just do a great job and fantastic.
This is kind of off note, but does Costco sell drums?
You know, we do actually. We sell little electric drums, and we do sell guitars now.
Really?
And we sell a lot of
real
keyboards.
guitars.
Well, you know, they're
Or
like
they're
starter packs.
starter
you know,
packs, okay.
That type of thing. But yeah, the electric drum thing is we sell that, and you know, I think online you might be able to find drums from Costco. If not, probably coming soon, because I know we're going to double the amount of stores in 10 years, so we're probably going to have a lot of stuff. If some of these brick and mortars go under, you're going to see it under the roof of Costco.
Oh wow, really? They're
so-
expanding on that.
Yeah, so that if that's insider information, get some stock now.
Get some stock now. You guys heard it from Chris Ihrig right here. So tell me about some of the other bands that you played with. I mean, Joint Chiefs is big. I've been
Yeah.
watching them for years. But
Yeah.
because I know you have a roster, a long list of
Yeah.
people that you played with.
Yeah, and okay, then early, what I love doing is helping guys, guitar players usually, that write their own songs. And a guy that's still playing that I helped and learned how to really be in a band with, prior to the Joint Chiefs, when I was a senior in high school, was a guy named George Haggerty. And George is still playing today. He's an authentic songwriter, kind of guy that has a trunk full of poetry and lyrics and writes his own stuff.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And he used to do some gigs with the Joint Chiefs and us. He's up in Mendocino now. And so I played with him, and geez, who else did I play with in the 80s? I was in a gospel band for a while.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, with Noel Couture, who's a great saxophone player. He
Okay.
plays around, I think, with J.C. Smith now. And my former girlfriend was the leader of that band at the First United Methodist Church, and we opened up the JJ's Blues Festival
Okay.
one morning. And then also I was in a band with some local players, and we got to work with John Lee Hooker.
Oh, nice.
And I had my drums at his house. And I was going to ask you, Kimball, is that any relation?
Zero.
You must get that.
But I love John Lee Hooker though.
Wow. What a saint of a man he
Right.
was. He answered the door in his three-piece suit and his fedora, just in those gargoyle socks, just like you see him on stage.
Wow.
And to this day, I can't believe that happened. That'd be like playing catch with Willie Mays.
Of course.
You know.
Absolutely. That was a super huge deal.
What a saint of a man.
Right.
And had my drum kit there a couple times and played with them up at Jack's in San Francisco. I got hired a few times by a guy named Deacon Jones, who was Freddie King's B3 Hammond player.
Right.
And that's where I met John Lee Hooker and Deacon Jones and Michael Osborne on guitar. And I wasn't even 30 years old then.
Oh wow, you're still young. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you think that's going to last forever. It's harder for me now working, and things have changed, but gigs were just plentiful back then and networking, and it still is to a certain extent. But
Right.
but those kind of gigs with those kind of people are in opening for national acts like that. You don't see that too much anymore.
That's amazing that you have that kind of past like that. I mean, so being from the Bay Area, how did you transition to be able to play like in different? Because you play outside of California too, right?
I did a few times in Miami. I went to Chicago to go visit Legends, and I got to sit in with Buddy Guy for an hour on a Tuesday night.
Buddy Guy.
Buddy Guy, yeah.
Wow.
That I was born in Chicago, so
Oh, okay.
him and I
All
had
right.
something in common there.
Right.
Although he was born down south, but just being back in Chicago on Maxwell Street, there.
That's
what
a whole
great
different
place.
scene.
Yeah, I just went to Nashville yesterday, so it kind of reminded me of that same thing going up and down the boulevard there with all these great bars and bands and
Right.
whatnot. Yeah, and
How was that? How was Nashville?
oh,
That's
let
a
me
whole
tell
different
you,
scene, huh?
I recommend everybody's got to go there, musician or not. You're going to find people of all stripes and music of all stripes. Such a great vibe, and just a great place.
What's your genre? Like, do you have a specific type of genre that you favor more than the other?
Yeah, I came up like a lot of us did in my background, listening to classic rock radio, 98.5 KOME here in the Bay Area.
KOME, I remember.
Playing all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
everything from Led Zeppelin to Bad Company and stuff from the 60s. My mom was a big Beatles fan, and stuff from the 60s and 50s had all the 45s of Jerry Lee Lewis and Elvis Presley, whatnot.
Right.
So they're playing records back then. Remember
Right.
records?
45,
Everybody
33,
remember records?
yeah, 45, yeah.
Yeah, and we would play that stuff and dance to it, and then I would turn those on and practice my drums when I was a kid. Like I told you when I bought those used drum sets,
Right.
and learn how to play along like that, we just kept doing that, going back to like the middle '80s after that gospel band and playing with John Lee Hooker. I got a chance then, I think a year later, to back up Jimmy Vaughn at the San Jose
Oh, wow.
Jazz Festival from Stevie Ray Vaughan's brother,
Yeah.
which was really cool. And oh my gosh, as a drummer, I always said we're kind of like plumbers. We get to go into everybody's house. And speaking to the genre, at this time now, I played a lot of rock, original stuff, kind of country, Americana.
Okay.
Rhythm and blues, of course, and funk, playing with the Joint Chiefs those years.
Right, right.
And I always loved that kind of stuff.
Right.
Kind of that, not too much jazz, I'm
Right.
still trying to get those jazz chops.
The jazz, it's a different. Yeah, your mind works different when you're a jazz drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got those different kind of hands.
Yeah. And I played some pop stuff with a guy that used to work with some of the members in Bruno Mars, a guy named Ronathan, who's great. We just did some
Oh.
demos work with him a couple years ago. So kind of that stuff I've been doing,
Right. Side note, also, I just want to say, we got word that Ozzy Osbourne passed away today.
Yeah, oh,
so
yeah.
prayers to his family.
Yeah, God bless him. What a good man, and he was loved by so many. And it's indicative on all the tributes.
Yeah.
I've seen
Well, he
today.
changed the music industry.
Yeah,
Totally.
he really did,
especially
huh?
for rock and roll.
Yeah,
That was a huge loss for the rock and roll industry.
Yeah.
For music, period.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So right now, what are you doing right now in terms of like any projects that you might have going or?
Yes, I do. In fact, a great player named singer vocalist named Greg Hill, who used to play in a heavy metal band named Damage, and he's with a band called Skeleton Crew now. We're going to start a new British Invasion tribute band with from Beatles to Bad Company to
Nice.
to everything in between tomorrow night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, tomorrow night. So that'll be really interesting. I'm going over the song list today, and he said let's do it. Let's make some money, have a great time, and
Right,
keep
right.
it authentic. And I love doing that stuff. Rolling Stones and
That's cool.
know,
How many piece band is that?
we're gonna have 2 guitars, bass, keyboards, drums, and vocals.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and they're all gonna fit in that studio. We're gonna make them fit.
And you sing as well? You do
Yeah,
background?
I just bought that a couple years ago. That wireless headset mic, which is great. Instead of reaching over to that mic like that, for a
Right.
drummer, that really helps you.
That helps, huh?
Yeah, the first time I had it on a wire, and every time I'd get up to go to the restroom, I'd pull the darn thing apart.
Right, right.
So now I could just keep it on and mosey about the studio.
Right. Chris, who are some of your favorite drummers?
Oh my gosh! I'm still mesmerized by Buddy Rich, John Bonham, Tony Williams, his simplicity, Charlie Watts, his simplicity, but simple is sometimes very difficult to do.
Right.
You know,
Charlie Watts,
as it
simple.
might be perceived. And some of these guys that are on YouTube now are just amazing.
Right.
What they do, it's almost superhuman. And there's an explosion of young children, children under 15, 12 years old that are playing drums now, and all instruments for that matter.
Right.
That is just absolutely phenomenal.
What do you think about Buddy Rich?
Buddy Rich, excuse me. Yes, he's absolutely amazing. The way his left hand in that traditional grip. I watched him again today, and I watch a clip of him probably every day. and it never gets old to watch how he could just buzz roll that thing, and his speed,
Right.
and the way he played. It's just amazing.
And he was older.
And he was older too.
Yeah.
And
That's just amazing just to watch his
Yes.
technique.
yes, and apparently he never really studied those charts too long
Mm-hmm.
before he sat in. He'd take a look at it one time and just let it rip.
Yeah, he just had that knack, that skill level to do that.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you're at the practice spot? Is
Yes,
that-
I am. Right down there in downtown San Jose, next to Bay 101. It's a great place to play, and San Jose in a metropolitan area like this really needs more of those places. And the people that run that place, Jack and his son, and Scott, God bless them for keeping this place open, because I don't know where we'd all be as musicians without
without a practice
that.
spot. Exactly. I used to practice there actually with some of the bands I played with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we need places like that.
We sure do.
Yeah.
They're the fifth largest market in America, San Jose is, and I think that's the only place. And I know there's a waiting list, so anybody out there
That wants to get in
wants
there.
to make a good investment, and everybody protects each other, watches over each other there.
Right.
And to be in that place, it's a financial commitment. So you get some people that are really on the up and up and focused on that. Sometimes contrary to what musicians get, we hear sometimes. We all take care of that place and keep the bills paid. And
Right.
It's a real privilege and honor to be in that place.
And it's a great location too.
It sure is.
Great location.
Yeah.
Chris, we'll be right back. I'm Kimball Hooker on the Kimball Hooker Show. You guys hold on just right there. We'll be right back.
Thank you to the City of Montecito for their continued support of KCAT Public Media. The City of Montecito has enabled KCAT to inspire, educate, entertain, and inform our community through the magic of television and digital media for over 38 years. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Kimball Hooker Show. And we have our special guest here right now, Mr. Chris Ihrig. He's a wealth full of information. So we're just dipping right in right now. Tell me a little bit more about like the type of drums that you prefer to play, your preference of drums. Because right here, this is my, like the one on this picture is like DW drums. Those are my favorites. What are your favorite drums to play?
Well, you want a size or material?
Both.
Yeah. I think when I was younger, playing with other bands in the '80s, like most drummers, we played those long drums, those long power toms. Yeah, not really the North; those kind of curved out, but just a longer shell, And these are now shortened up, which we probably thought back then wasn't cool, or it wasn't going to make this boof, that lower end sound. But I love these. These are shorter toms, and with a wood snare there. And that works great.
Is that maple?
That's all maple. Yeah, that's from the great DW company. And that wood is actually grown in northern Michigan. They tell you where that wood's from. Made in America with American wood by Americans. That was important to me when I bought that set. I just thought that's great. I'll pay a little bit more. Keep it all in the nation here with the homegrown wood.
Right,
I thought that was
right.
really cool about DW. And I just I think my great job at Costco at able to afford that.
Right.
I would have never thought in a million years I'd own a drum set like that.
That's a beauty.
The cases costed more than most of my kits.
That's true.
A couple of times over. But now for the last band I just was playing in, it was like a modern rock band, and we had a female singer doing Pat Benatar and Blondie, that stuff. I used a copper DW snare on that. I don't know if you can see it off to the side there. Just barely.
Oh, yeah, I can.
And I use that for that show, but I love the sound of wood, Kimball, probably as you do too, and that maple. There's nothing like it.
Right.
I played on really low-end drum kits all my life, and just when I got that about 4 or 5 years ago,
That changed everything.
it changed everything.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Every day I think how lucky I am to even have that. I never would have dreamed, like I said.
How do you feel about incorporating? Looks like you have like I guess want to say a drum machine, or is that like
That
like
is
a pad?
that we can do a lot of sounds on that.
Right.
A lot, like clap sounds
Like
I use,
claps,
or
shakers or
or
whatever.
with percussion sounds.
Percussion
we don't have a
sound.
kunga in there, or if we don't have it, you can go to that and you get everything on there, and that works really good for stuff. Let's say like you want to do that John Fogerty song, baseball. It's got the clap
Got
in
the
there.
claps in there,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right.
and it does everything. And I know they make them a little bit smaller now and more modern. That's kind of an older one, and it works great. And I probably have a lot of cymbals there, but that's in my studio, right? There's
The Sabian, you got the K's. What's your favorite?
Oh, you know that I love I love that Sabian AAX, I believe.
AAX.
Those are just, and back in the day we all used big heavy cymbals. They were just so loud, and these thin ones now you can bend them.
Right.
I thought when they first came out I was going to break them easy, but they don't break. They just sound great, and I love them. And I think the Zildjian Sweet K, like you see on the hi hat,
Right.
same type of cymbal,
Right.
and they don't polish the bell, and they're just a little bit thinner, and they're great. And
How do you tune up your kit?
well, for many years, like everybody else, Kimball, we would do it by ear, and so some guys still insist on doing it by ear, even with the electronic assistance we have now, which is like the TuneBot, which you hook up to every lug screw, and you get the perfect frequency. And you can do that to fundamental pitch or the key of the song, and we've done that, in descending, perfect intervals, et cetera, on that kit. And I think we have it in the G tuning right now because we're working on a song with my songwriter partner, and that's what he wants. So we'll take that TuneBot,
Right.
and it's just amazing, and it gets it all exactly in. In fact, that thing, you can go to whatever great drummer, artist you want, say John Bonham snare drum. I think it might be like 298 on the top and 310 on the bottom.
Right,
Something
right.
like that. You can recreate those sounds of your favorite artist.
How do you get rid of that ring?
That
The ring. Sometimes there's a ring on the snare. In
yeah,
particular.
it's usually one culprit screw sometimes to do it, or you tell the bass player you got to point that the other way.
Right.
A lot of times it's the bass player too close to that snare drum. Usually we'll have the bass player about right here, and he's got it pointed that way, and we'll just tell him to move it that way a little bit, and that'll do it. But there's a lot of tricks on that.
Okay.
It definitely is a compromise sometimes when you're in a tight studio like that, trying to get a good sound without that snare buzz. The people that can pull that off, I have a lot of admiration for. It's trial and error trying to figure out that recipe that works.
Right. Now, do you tune different if you're going to say cut a record versus play live?
It's. I would say sometimes that would be heads. I'm using durable clear heads on that drum kit here, which you really got to kind of stroke hard to make them project. DW, you really got to hit them hard. I'm thinking about going to the coated white heads in that studio because a lot of the guys say it's a little bit too loud in there.
Oh, got it.
Hitting those cymbals. But that's a good question. Usually I kind of go mid-range. I don't tune my snare drum really too tight, and I don't tune it too low. I kind of want it in between there. I want it some body, but I don't want too much ring and looseness, and I don't want too much, like I said, too high like a brick. Sometimes they call that a church snare, which is really cool for funk when you really want to crank time. I kind of always take the middle route on that with a lot of the drum tuning on that.
Oh, got it.
But it's a never-ending science, I'm sure, for all drummers how to learn how to tune a drum kit. But
It's a process.
It sure is.
Yeah.
I was always taught put your finger in the middle and in the star pattern, make them all match. And I've been doing that. And when I took the TuneBot electronic tuner in, it was amazing how close I actually was. A few of the screws were just off, maybe 10 or 12 points. So I have it. If you've been drumming for a while, you can get it pretty darn close to what you're looking for.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
do you ever sub out your snare, or you always keep that same snare no matter what and change the heads?
Yeah, I keep that snare. Sometimes, if we're recording, sometimes I might tighten that a little bit more when it's going to need that. Especially if it's like a funk tune. If it's going to be something like an American country type tune, I'll loosen it up a little bit so you can play with the dowels or whatnot and still get that body, that wet sound of those snares.
Right.
Like on those, let's say, like a Johnny Cash beat type of thing, that type of stuff. So every now and then I do country music on that with some friends and people.
Right. And
Yeah.
then what about your mics? What type of mics do you use?
Oh, you don't see him there, but the thing is just loaded with mics. My studio partner, God bless him, he's become a great engineer producer by a lot of trial and error, and he's got the big board, big PreSonus board, and all the mics and the Pro Tools software. And after 2 years now, he's got it down pretty good. And we have him. We use one mic to share those two floor toms, one mic to share the tom, and one over there. One under the snare, and on top of the snare, a hi-hat mic, and he's got, I think, two overheads, like the Glenn Johns method.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, and it picks up those cymbals, and of course, one in the bass drum. Mm-hmm. And for the recording, these DWs, any fine drum set, actually, they all make great drum kits. Actually,
Now, do you cut the hole in there, or how do
I
you?
did cut the hole, and we used to use a mom's plates, you know what I mean, or get the saucer, and it was a dinner plate back in the day, and then everybody wanted to go into a little one, so you got to find the little tea saucer,
Right.
And we trace around it, never get it cut straight. Now they have for drummers a special little tool you just buy, and it just goes around like a compass.
Oh, and it's perfect.
It's perfect. Yeah, that's how I did that one. I cut that DW head. They sell them without the head, but they have little tiny holes. But I wanted that access to get, and also to move your pillows around in there, your dampening equipment.
Right.
And
Do those really help?
they do to a certain extent. Every drummer likes them different. DW gives you stock pillows, but I always still like that soft blanket somehow in there.
Right.
You know, and I'll give the stick to whoever's out in front there, musician, bass player, said, take that stick, push that thing in a little bit.
A little bit more, huh? Right. Now you just drop it in, or do you put it on a stand?
I put it on a stand in there. Yeah. The mic.
The actual.
Yeah, it's right in front there. And one thing about having that hole in the bass drum, I had that drum kit in my house for a while. And my wonderful little black cat, Izzy, I couldn't find him one day. We looked all over for a couple hours, and he was in that bass drum with that blanket taking a nap.
Taking a nap. Wow.
So I had to have a big sign on top of the drum set, don't hit the bass drum. Check if the cat's inside there.
Wow. So what kind of hardware do you have?
All DW. I tried to just keep this thing completely DW with the hardware, except the pedals. I have a Thomas Speed Cobra pedal, which I really love.
Thomas Speed.
Yeah,
that's my favorite pedal.
Hi-hat. Yeah. But everything else is those nice DW stands, which you can kind of branch off. You can't see over here with these dog bones. You can just grow it like a tree. Of course, I just did a gig last month. I don't bring all that stuff, but in the studio, you have the luxury and pleasure to use a lot of.
So you break your kit down when you do a live show?
Yeah, yes, I do. I pull it out of there, take all the mics off, bring the nice hard shell kits. You can't use a soft shell kit case with these drums because if you drop them, you got to. It's part of the deal. I think you got to have a hard shell case.
Right.
And like I was saying, those darn cases costed more than the drum sets I was only able to afford back in the day. And it works great with those SPK cases, those nice hard shells. It's like having a great Gibson Les Paul. You're not going to put that in a soft bag.
Of course not.
You don't want to drop that baby.
Right. And I noticed you have holes in your splash.
Yeah, that's my stop cymbal. That's really great, that one up there. I see a lot of drummers use those on larger cymbals. Those are really cool. I'm getting an appetite for one of those bigger ones, but that is a quick decay.
Right.
So you want to, right at the end, stop
so it's
something.
Quick.
Real quick. And I love that thing. It's always right there, right in the middle, and it works great on that. And those Sweet K hi-hats are great. That's a 15-inch hi-hat, so you got a little bit more to work with there. And I use that tambourine ring on top there.
Oh, got it. Oh, I just saw that right now. I didn't even see that before. Yeah.
The guy that used that a lot was John Bonham. He's used a lot, and that's great because you can always hit on it. If you don't have a tambourine player during the song or whatnot, you can use your stick, and it's just light enough not to be too loud.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's just a great kit and a lot of cymbals, and I always love hearing guys, no matter who it is, come on, sit behind her. I want to hear it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I admired. I saw a guy one time. He had a chain that came from the center of the bell and it dropped down. So when he hit it,
I've seen those.
You've seen that, right?
Yeah. They got all kinds of contraptions now.
Man, that was awesome. When I saw it, and it gave the right amount of ring and touch and everything. And when he hit it, it totally sounded totally different than anything I've ever heard before.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's called because it didn't come with the cymbal. It was, I think, his own device, I guess, or like an addition.
Yeah.
But it was amazing.
That's the revolution now. These effect cymbals that are thin and pancaked and stacked on top of each other.
Oh, the stacks too. Yeah,
I tried that. It sounded great. You just take your old cymbals and stack them up.
Right. But so you say DW is your favorite though?
I like it, like I said, because it's made in America with American wood for the most part. These maple is. I know they harvest wood from all over the world now.
Right.
In fact, I think DW harvested a log from Romania that was 2,000 years old.
Oh wow.
And they built a drum set out of that. But yeah, this stuff, like I said, you can trace it to the forest in northern Michigan where it was from. And they do bamboo drum sets now.
Nice.
You name it, cherry. The orchards in central California, they make drum sets out of. So you're more than welcome, Kimball. You got to come in and play it.
Trust me, I'll be right over there because I'm looking at that. I want to bang on that thing. Give it a little Kimball touch on there.
I hope so, sir.
Yeah. What? So you were talking about the band that you have earlier. What's the name of that band that you guys are putting together?
Oh, it's a British Invasion band, like I said, tribute. And we're going to put the skinny ties on. And I think when we come to the 70s music, we're going to have to put the long wig on.
Oh, so you guys dress up too?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so I think we're looking at these kind of city plaza gigs, maybe some stuff in Las Vegas, Reno, down the road.
Like tribute or original?
A tribute band.
Tribute. Oh, really?
Yeah, a tribute band. and I'm thinking that he's, the guy leader of the band. He's a great singer. His band Skeleton Crew, they're on Spotify right now, I think, in the top 20 of streaming or hits or whatever.
Got it.
And he said this is a great idea. The tribute bands, if you like doing that, there's a lot of money and jobs in that. And I said, what the heck? Let's do it. I love
Vegas.
playing that stuff. I'll get the skinny tie.
Right. And then here in the Bay Area as well, you guys have any shows or concerts
not yet.
set up?
We're just tomorrow night's going to be our maiden voyage tomorrow night, and with everybody in that studio, and we'll see how it goes.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what do you have planned for the future?
Well, I'm going to keep doing that, and with my songwriting partner, we're finishing up his 8-song CD.
Right.
And I always have a few other things in the bucket there. And like I said, I just got back from Nashville, played at Papa Turney's place, great place up there. And I'll go back to Nashville next year. I met David Hull out there. I want to say something about David Hull. He's a great San Jose blues artist.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if you know David or heard of him. I worked with him the last couple of years.
No relation to Danny.
No relation to Danny, the saxophone player.
Okay.
But met him in Nashville. We were supposed to play together, but he was a little bit injured, so I played with the Papa Turney band up there. And once again, if anybody's go to Nashville, all you musicians and just anybody wants to have a fun, good time, it's such a great place.
I can imagine. Just because that's part of the grassroots too.
It sure is.
Yeah, for blues and grassroots and
Everything. You
Yeah.
see how it all comes from one big tree. Music, everything we know
Right.
is all a derivative. It's all came from everything, whether it's Negro spirituals or
Right.
jazz, the hillbilly music imported from Europe, the guys playing the fiddle and mandolins. It's all one big gumbo stew.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like a little Hollywood, would you say, or different?
It's almost like a Disneyland for musicians.
Wow.
On that Broadway, there's 100 bands and 100 bars going down the street on both sides.
It's endless.
All the big names have their own bar. It's just amazing.
It's endless.
Yeah. And going to the Country Hall of Fame is something else. And seeing Hank Williams' guitar, the banjo that Earl Scruggs owned that played the Beverly Hillbillies.
Right.
I'm looking at those guitars 18-inch weight. It was emotional looking at those things, looking at the scratches that Hank Williams left on that guitar and his boots.
They have all that.
They have
Everything's there.
all that right there. And it's absolutely stunning and breathtaking to see that. That's something I recommend all music lovers, all Americans see, because that music is a part of our heritage. It's got people of every stripe in there, every background
Right.
in that Hall of Fame there. It's just a great thing. Makes you proud to be a part of this country and all the great music we produced and continue to produce.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Anything else you want to leave us with before we wrap this whole thing up?
I'd just like to say that there's so many more great musicians out there, and drummers especially, that are working a lot more than me that would probably be great subject matter on this show, and a lot of great artists. And I know as the show gets going, now that we know each other, I can always point them in your direction or
Please do.
talk to you. There's a lot of great stories out there that I'd like to hear.
For sure.
And I'm sure everybody out there would love to hear.
We'll definitely exchange information and get our contacts. But I always want to welcome you to the show. Thank you for coming aboard. Thank you for sharing your story. And is there a website that you have, or is there, where can you be found?
I do have my Facebook site at Chris Ihrig, IHRIG, and I have some cuts on there, and then more will be coming from the CD we're doing.
Right.
And that's about it right now. A lot of my stuff is just, in the Google Drive and whatnot. We'll release some of that as we go along.
We gotta find out what's in that Google Drive.
Yeah.
For sure.
I got to find out too.
Surprise to him too.
It's like looking at everything under the bed. I got to sort it out.
Right. Well, Chris, I want to thank you for coming on the Kimball Hooker Show. I'm Kimball Hooker, and we'll see you guys next time.
You just heard the Kimball Hooker Show here on KCAT Radio. Explore all our KCAT original programming at kcat.org/radio.